There's something so soul-drainingly familiar about the release of No Mercy, a so-called game that lets players rape, impregnate, and murder women, including their own mothers. Yes, that is actually the plot. And what's worse than the fact that it existed, even briefly, is how predictable the reaction was. A flood of men showed up, not to condemn it, but to defend it. To say it's just a game, just fantasy, just fiction, nothing to see here. But there is something to see here. And what it shows is how deep this sickness runs. No Mercy was released on Steam on March 22nd, and if you haven't heard the details yet, brace yourself. The player is rewarded for raping women. One of them becomes pregnant. She gives birth. Then the player kills her and her newborn. There's incest, torture, domination, humiliation, degradation, all framed as choice-driven gameplay. It was being sold like any other indie game, with no real content warning and no rating. It was treated like entertainment. And when women, understandably, sounded the alarm, we were met with the usual chorus. This isn't a big deal. There are worse things online. It's just pixels. People watch dark porn all the time. If you're offended, just don't play it. But this is what so many men fail to understand. We're not offended. We're terrified. We're exhausted. We are numb from the relentless way our pain, our violation, our destruction is treated like it's nothing more than creative inspiration. A kink. A niche market. This isn't art. It's not edgy. It's not freedom of expression. It's a reflection of what too many men actually want and what they feel entitled to. Domination without consequence. Control without consent. Women, not as people, but as objects to be used, broken, and discarded. And maybe the most telling part of this whole story is what happened after the game was taken down. When public backlash finally caught Steam's attention and Valve started pulling the game from digital storefronts, first in the UK, then Australia and Canada, the developers responded by defending it. They said that while real incest and rape were disgusting, they should be allowed in fantasy, because the people should really do what they want as long as they don't harm anyone. Except it does harm people. Not physically, not in the way you can point to with a bruise or a scar, but culturally, psychologically, socially. Because media doesn't exist in a vacuum. We've known this for years. The stories we tell shape the beliefs we carry. And when the most popular form of adult entertainment is sexual violence against women, that isn't just a fantasy. That's a mass conditioning project. It trains men to see women as things. It teaches them that no is negotiable. It shows them that abuse can be fun if it's dressed up in graphics. And the irony? The backlash made the game more popular. The developers likely profited off the controversy. It got hundreds of times more traffic after people spoke out. And now, with the game removed from stores, it's being pirated, downloaded more than ever. That's not a sign that the game didn't matter. It's proof that it struck a nerve, not because it was unfairly censored, but because it was a fantasy come true for the kind of man who doesn't want women to have rights, agency, or safety. And guess what? Those men are not rare. We are not in the golden age of male empathy. We're in an era where men are radicalizing themselves online with content that normalizes cruelty, violence, and misogyny, and then turning around and saying, but it's not real. As if that makes it safe, as if that makes it okay. And I'm sorry, but I don't care how many studies you wave around claiming that games don't influence behavior. When this many men are this comfortable defending digital rape, that is behavior. When your instinct is to protect a fictional rapist's right to exist instead of a real woman's right to feel safe, that says everything. This isn't about censorship. It's about decency. It's about the cultural rot that allows people to see something like No Mercy and feel curiosity, not horror. It's about the thousands of men online who are less concerned with what the game depicts and more annoyed that we're making a fuss. Because in the end, that's what it always comes down to, doesn't it? Not the content, not the abuse, not the misogyny, but the inconvenience of having to think about it. The nerve of women, ruining your fantasy with our feelings. the buzzkill of being told that maybe your darkest fantasies say something real about who you are. So no, I don't accept the just a game defense. Not for a second. Not when games like this exist. Not when the internet is flooded with men desperate to minimize, excuse, or outright defend this shit. Not when the fantasy is rape and the reward is silence. We're not being dramatic. We're not being hysterical. We're telling you the truth. And we're not going to stop just because it makes you uncomfortable.